Don't ram me. Don't you ram me. Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Hey guys, it's your girl Mika. Today we're gonna go over the cost of living, not just in India, but South and Southeast Asia, as a long-term expat who has been living abroad for a little bit over 7 years. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. Alright, so we're back in my spot. I like to get outdoors for these little videos. Nice field, nature, high vibrations, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But anyway, in this video we're going to talk about the rough cost of living in India, Southeast Asia. I'm not going to necessarily be going over every little thing in depth, like the cost of living, bills, utilities, transportation, food, miscellaneous, and all those things, because I think those things need separate videos and it would make this video entirely too long. So this is going to be a rough estimate. I also want to say that I'm coming from the perspective of an American who makes American coins, which is a strong currency, especially in South and Southeast Asia. It definitely fluctuates, but it's pretty strong. The conversion rate is pretty good. And I'm also coming from the perspective of a single person with no kids, so I have no responsibility or accountabilities except me, myself, and I. So with all that being said, let's get into it. Okay. It's really funny to me how I go on a lot of these, or I see a lot of these travel vloggers who will land in a country and within a week or so they'll have the cost of living videos because they do very well, right? Let me tell you, as someone who's lived abroad for a little over 7 years in South and Southeast Asia, you do not know the cost of living if you've been in a country for a week, 2 weeks, or even a couple of months. A lot of times these travel vloggers aren't giving you the cost of living. They're giving you the cost of what it's like to be a tourist. And that's fine if you're trying to get a rough estimate of what your budget should be if you're trying to visit a country for a short period of time or a short stay. But that is not the cost of living if you're trying to be a long-term traveler or an expat. Because a lot of times it really takes time for you to understand what is the fair cost, what is the fair price. Because when you're first landing into a country and the people that you're dealing with, they see you as a tourist. And especially if you're in some of these more developing countries like South and Southeast Asia, Central America, South America, and you're a Westerner, they think that you are filthy fucking rich. So they're going to give you the highest cost possible. And also a lot of the traditional ways that Americans or Westerners travels, especially when it comes to booking accommodations online through booking.com or Agoda or Travelocity, all these things, a lot of times those are Western prices. That is just what you get to see on the surface, right? It's a really good way to try to get a rough estimate what the pricing for accommodations are like, but it's really not where you're going to be staying if you want to stay in a country long term. Most likely you're going to be moving into neighborhoods that are more local with a good mix of other expats and foreigners. Like here in Goa, a lot of the expats and long-term travelers, like other domestic travelers in India, like Indians, a lot of times they go live on Temple Road or Pernim Road. Pernim Road and Temple Road is still a very local area, so you're living amongst other locals, but there is still a big expat community that you commune with, especially when you first start traveling. Alright guys, so now we are on Pernim Road. This is another popular road that a lot of long-term expats come and live amongst the local life. And one of the favorite restaurants here on Pernim Road is Sourdough. The same thing in Thailand. There's usually just areas where the expats live. Expats don't live with tourists. They live with other expats and other locals because you're getting a better price. It's the same thing with restaurants. I like to basically say, if you want to know what the pricing things are, go where the locals are. Like if you see a restaurant that's packed with locals, if you're in Thailand and you see a Thai restaurant that's packed with locals, not only do you know the food is going to be delicious, you know it's going to be locally priced. It's not the same if you see a restaurant that's packed with other tourists, that especially in touristy areas, a lot of times the pricing is going to be higher. And it doesn't mean just because it's more expensive that somehow the food is going to be more of quality. And mostly anything that's seen as Western is going to be more expensive. even a hotel. Like, I watched a travel vlogger who came to India, and he was booking all of his accommodations on booking.com, Agoda, and other hotel booking sites, and he was saying, like, you can't get anywhere that's cheaper than $30 in India. That's the cheapest hotel you can get, especially if you want something safe or clean. Total cap. That is not true. The reason why he was only finding that price is because he was staying at hotels. Hotels, for some reason, is seen as Western, so they are always overpriced. The other accommodations that you can stay in South and Southeast Asia are guest houses and homestays. Those are always a lot cheaper than a hotel. But again, a lot of this just takes way more of a more in-depth video to really break it down. Let me just break down my lifestyle, because your budget is always going to depend on the lifestyle that you want to live. Some people want more fancier lifestyles. Some people want to be constantly comfortable all the time. Some people prefer to live in the cities. Some people prefer to live in the country. Some people want to party all day and shop all night, or shop all night and party all day. Whatever floats your boat. Your budget is going to depend on what you want and what kind of quality of life you want when you're being an expat or living in different countries. So for me, as a single female, again, with no other accountability or responsibility besides myself and my own personal endeavors, passions, and businesses, when it's high season, I'm pretty social. I go out every other night. I'm not saying I'm partying every night, but I'm going out to events, music events, concerts, open mics, ecstatic dance, yoga, meditation, sound healing, just going to community events when it's high season. High season means when there's more people around. In low season, when people tend to go home or travel to other places. And so I have a pretty social life when it's time to be social. I usually stay in studio apartments because it's just me. They're usually fully equipped, fully furnished. That's where most places you're going to be living. Some expats do end up getting really local and getting completely empty homes where they have to furnish it and hook up all the utilities. In Thailand, they will call these places service apartments. And other places in Southeast Asia, I already mentioned it. It can be homestays or guest houses. So fully equipped, already utilities already hooked up. And a lot of times when it comes to homestays and guest houses, you don't actually have to pay for the utilities. Are usually relatively nice, relatively clean, and pretty decent, nice neighborhoods. They're just usually quite basic, right? So I don't have a pool or a gym or a doorman or anything like that, but they're secure, they're safe, and they're clean. So I just got to my homestay, hostel, hotel, whatever, here in Jaipur, and wow, I'm so happy with my room. Like, I don't know if you can tell the size of it, but it's huge. And it has these two nice windows. In here is a fridge. So, and it's working, I think. I don't know. AC. That's so nice. Pillows look clean. Clean area. You can do work there. Yeah, and bathroom. So this is the toilet. Maybe this is the shower. Oh, yay! The shower and the toilet are in separate. Separate rooms. So this is where I live. This is Lower Dorm Court, but Dharamshala area in Himachal Pradesh. So this video is another video tour of my apartment. It's like a part 2 of finding an apartment. I found the apartment, especially if you're on a budget, especially you just got here to Thailand and you don't feel like spending more than a couple $100 on rent a month. So this is my apartment. It's pretty much just a studio apartment. It comes with a bed. This is the old bed, and she will give you a brand new bed. I think she's actually going to change it as soon as I move out, because she has 2 apartments, and this is the old one, and she's renewing it. So every time someone moves out, she puts new stuff in. So when I first got in, I got a refrigerator, brand new, nice size refrigerator. I bought a hot plate I barely use. Comes with a desk, chair with floors, and I got a brand new wardrobe. And it comes with a typical Thai bathroom where the shower and the tub, well, the shower and the toilet and the sink is all in one place. And it does have hot water, and it actually gets pretty hot, which is pretty good. So it's a typical Thai bathroom. this is coming into it. What I really love about this is that I have this big open window. I love natural light. And you can open it. And this is my neighborhood. So this is my balcony. And I believe all of the units have balconies. And so this is the floor balcony, which is, it's not the best view, but I have no pants on, by the way, so nobody. So this is the floor balcony. This is my string where I hang my clothes. This is the parking lot. This is the view. And as you can see, it's really, really quiet. And then it has a con. So these are the built-in desks that I was talking about. There's 3 in here. And they all have drawers. So that's storage. And this is the bed. The bed's pretty comfortable. And it comes with a TV. And it comes with cable, but honestly, like, there's 2 channels that I can watch, which is Al Jazeera, which is like my favorite channel now. It's like news, educational, and then I have like old 90s movies channels, and sometimes it's in Thai, right? And it's more storage. It comes with like a little bench that I use as a little table, and it's more storage, shelves, closet, a little refrigerator. This is the bathroom. It's the shower. The shower, I like the bathroom. The towel is really nice. The shower gets really hot. So yeah, sorry about. I eat out pretty much every single day. I cook breakfast for myself, but I eat out a lot. It's easier to eat healthy here, so I don't really mind doing that. I'm not really lacking anything. The only thing I don't have right now is transportation. And transportation in India for a motorbike will be like another $50, $70 max. This is a Navi. This is the bike that I usually ride, but it wasn't available because they're really popular, because it rides like a motorbike, like because you straddle it, and straddling bikes actually is safer than sort of scooting on a bike, and it's an automatic as well. So it's like a sports bike but automatic. It's really fun to ride. So if you ever get a chance to ride a Navi, grab one. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it. And right now, my monthly budget is roughly $400 to $500 a month. But that's only because I ended up losing my freelance job at the beginning of the pandemic. I would never tell someone to come down to South or Southeast Asia for less than $600 a month, or even a little bit over $600 a month. If you cannot produce that much money every month, I wouldn't recommend coming down. However, I have seen people live on less than that. I know people who live on less than that. And even when I told people my monthly budget, when it was when I first came to India, it was a bit over $600 a month, and people told me that I was spending too much money. It really depends on you, and it depends on the country, and it depends on what type of lifestyle you want. But for the most part, I've been to every single country in Southeast Asia. I've been to every single one except the Philippines, and every single country I can live off of $600 a month. In Thailand and Indonesia and India, I can very much afford my own place, usually a studio apartment. In Vietnam, in Malaysia, Cambodia, Laos, I usually stay in communal living like hostels. But to be fair, in those 3 countries, I don't ever stay that long term to really invest to see if I could get my own place. And it's mainly a hotel. There's only 2 small rooms that's dedicated to hostel, but it's mainly a hotel. And because of that, you stay in this hostel and you get access to all the amenities of the hotel. With a minimum of $600, a little over $600, that definitely can get you here, and you can live a comfortable life. Again, studio apartment, eating out every day, being quite social when it's time to be social, not really lacking of anything. Again, I just don't have luxury. Like, I don't have a pool or a gym or anything like that. If you really want to open more doors for yourself, I would say $1,200 to $1,500 is what you should be coming down here with. That means if you want a 2-bedroom apartment or a 1-bedroom apartment, or you want an apartment with a pool and a gym and a little cafe, if you want a gym membership so you can do CrossFit, if you want a nice bike that you can rent every single month, if you do want to go shopping, if you do want to do more drinking, if you do want to do more luxury items like getting massages or chiropractors or acupuncture. And it also depends where you want to live. Like, for instance, in Thailand, Bangkok, I would say you would need about $1,200 $1,200 minimum to $1,500 to live comfortably, to live nicely. Again, you can live on less than that. You're just not going to be living nicely. You're not going to be going out. You're not going to have a social life. You're going to have a really shitty place that you're living. So in Bangkok, I would say $1,200 to $1,500 minimum. But if you go to Chiang Mai, you can live off of a little over $600 a month. It really depends. Here in most cities are going to be a little bit more expensive than the rural countries or the smaller beach towns or the smaller mountain towns where I usually reside. When it comes to even things like medical care, is really inexpensive. There are definitely travel insurances that are affordable that you should take advantage of, but medical care is very, very affordable. You need to have the cash or you need to have the insurance when you're going to the hospital, because they will not work on you for the most part if you can't prove that you have the insurance or the ability to pay. But a lot of people come down to Southeast Asia, especially places like Thailand, to do medical tourism. A lot of people come to India to do medical tourism or dental work, because dental work is really good here and really affordable, like super affordable. Like, I love America, and I know America is supposed to be the greatest country in the world, but honestly, like, I've never been able to just pay out of pocket when I go to the hospital in America. I can pay out of pocket when I go to the hospital here. Not that I go to the hospital that often, but when I've had to go to the hospital, it's really affordable. And a lot of times if the hospital or the doctor is trying to give you medication, if you look at the list of medication that he's going to give you, a lot of times you can just go to the pharmacy yourself and get it, because it's really inexpensive. And unlike America, a lot of times you don't need prescriptions for a lot of things. Some things you do, but a lot of stuff that you need prescriptions for in America, you don't need prescriptions here. Not just in India, but in South and Southeast Asia. So medical care is really, really cheap. Thailand, India, Vietnam in Cambodia now, becoming Cambodia, has huge retirement communities, because a lot of people come retire in these countries because the cost of medical care is really inexpensive and they can live comfortably off of their own retirement fund. Retirement can barely scrape by in America, but if they get that in South and Southeast Asia, and maybe other places like Central or South America, they can live more comfortably as in their retirement ages. So there's huge retirement communities down here. So my goal going forward in the future is definitely to get my budget up to $1,200 to $1,500 a month working for myself, and that does open a lot of doors. I would recommend, if you can muster up $1,200 to $1,500 a month, to come down with that much money, because you'll be sitting pretty, like you'll be sitting pretty comfortable, again, unless you just want to live in laps of luxury. But if you are desperately trying to get out of the States, or you're desperately trying to get out of the West, and you really just want to come overseas, if you can muster at least a bit over like $630, $650 a month, that's good. You can live nicely off of that. Again, nothing super luxury, nothing super fancy, but you can have a basic studio apartment. And honestly, I can afford a 1-bedroom here, but it's just gonna be empty space. So I actually pay more for a studio apartment than I could if I lived further away. The thing is, if you live further out of town, everything gets cheaper, right? So I can afford a 1-bedroom, like a nice size, big kitchen, big living room. But I choose to live in a studio that's closer to town and pay a little bit more, because I don't need a 1-bedroom. And that's the thing is, the most expensive place I've ever lived since the 7 years I've been traveling has been a little over $200. $1,200 to $1,500 a month is like a good sweet spot, but you can do it on a bit over $600 a month. You can do it on less than that, but you're gonna be scraping by. You're not gonna be having as much fun. So I know this wasn't like a deep dive breakdown of the cost of living. I just wanted to throw like a rough amount out there, because I feel like somebody might be sitting there going, oh my God, do I have enough? I can't go anywhere. I'm not rich enough. I can't afford it, because Americans still do have a myth in their head that you have to be rich to live abroad, and you do not have to be rich to live abroad. Now, again, it is actually cheaper to be an expat and do long-term living than it is to bounce around quickly. Your prices, your budget goes up a lot more when you bounce around too quickly. That's why I mentioned it earlier, when I see these people who've been in a place for 5 days, and I've been to these countries and I know the cost of living, and they say a cost of living that is literally the triple amount that most expats are actually paying to stay there, is because there are tourist prices. You are not going to know the in-depth price of things for being somewhere short term. A lot of times you have to be in a place, you have to get to know the community, you have have to ask around. A lot of the local cheaper places aren't going to be on Goda, aren't going to be on booking.com. Those are the hotels, those are the more expensive places, right? Even taxis or rickshaws or tuk-tuks, you're going to be estimated a tourist price, right? This was just, yeah, so this was just a rough video. I hope that it helped. I hope that you got something out of it. If you have any questions or if I missed something, I'm sure I did, because this is a very rough, very unscripted video that I'm doing really quick, that I just wanted to get out there. So if people can say, like, let me look at my bank account right now, I can do this. I have this much money. I can make this much money every month, or I have this much savings. I can do this, because I think a lot of times just ignorance is what keeps people from traveling or from experiencing different countries, because a lot of people still think you have to be you have to be rich to travel or to live abroad, because of travel flex culture when it comes to travel influencers on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Even places like Bali is actually not that expensive. A lot of people think Bali is super expensive. Bali, Indonesia is incredibly inexpensive. Now, if you want to stay in a beachfront villa, it's going to be expensive. And the thing that is expensive in Bali is the alcohol and shopping. That is expensive. But honestly, living in Bali is not that expensive. It's just, again, it's this travel flex Instagram culture that makes it look like it's really expensive, and it's just not. Like, some of the miscellaneous payments that you might have to come up with is a lot of it is immigration stuff. A lot of the immigration, the extensions, the visas, that stuff can add up. So you always have to take into account for that when it comes to budget. Any medical emergencies, you have to take that into account when it comes to budget. Not to say you're going to have a medical emergency every 2 weeks, but you want to have a little bit of savings. You always want to have an emergency. You always want to have an emergency fund when it comes to trying, if you need to get out of the country or not, buying a last minute ticket or not, because plane tickets will always be the most expensive thing in your budget. So again, that's what I say, when you travel fairly quickly, it adds up, because the plane, the train, all of that transportation adds up. But again, if you're making the minimum of a bit over 600 or the sweet spot of 12 to 1500, that opens so many doors for you. And if you can manage to make that every month, or have enough savings where you can start working towards creating your own business, and if you are going to come here to create your business and be a digital nomad, you also have to take that into your budget, because that's going to cost money to start a business. But it is so doable. It is so doable. People in my own family still think that I'm rich. People think that I make a lot of money. And my number one question when it comes to YouTube is, how do you do this? How much money do you make? And what job do you have? You don't have to make that much. It just has to be stable, or you have to have enough savings until you get stable. The thing is, I'm not really wanting for anything. And I actually love my life. And I can have the lifestyle that I desire and want, and I don't have to make $3,000 a month to have it. I literally live 5 minutes away from the ocean. I live in nature that I love. I don't need anything. Anything that I want, I can just go to town and get it. And a roof over my head, as much food as I really want to eat or desire to eat. What I desire to eat. I don't miss anything. If I want an espresso, I get an espresso. If I want a gelato, I can go get gelato. I'm in a rural area, but I'm in an area where a lot of expats live. And so a lot of things are catered to expats here. And so if I want soy milk or almond milk, or if I want, Western cereal, I can get that. I think people just assume if your budget's low, then you must be like living in squalor or something, or you're missing out on so much, and it's just really not true. That's it, guys. I'm going to go. I'm getting bit by mosquitoes. I'm hungry. So let me know again if you have any questions. Let me know in the comment section below. Yeah, from Live, Love, Life, and Travel. Bye.
I've been thinking about myself today.